Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim along with Justin for the Real Sports Talk and MLB Franchise Insider, the MLB Franchise Podcast. Coming at you with some big news in the world of baseball today. Kevin Youkilis has been dealt to the Chicago White Sox after 8.5 seasons in Boston, including 2 World Series titles and 133 home runs, and really being a crucial piece to that team, especially during the second World Series run. But overall, he has been a great player for the Red Sox for quite a few seasons now. And with the emergence this year of Will Middlebrooks, a third baseman who is young and really looks like a great upcoming talent, hitting .326 with 9 home runs and 34 RBIs, with Adrian Gonzalez over at first base, and with the fact that David Ortiz this year is absolutely tearing it up. They didn't even have the, well, we can just wait till Ortiz leaves and Youkilis can be the DH or anything like that. They just didn't have a spot for Kevin Youkilis anymore, and essentially he became expendable. We heard teams like the Pirates were interested in him. The Dodgers were offering James Loney. That's according to a few reports, or at least were willing to give up James Loney. I don't know if it ever got as far as offering. But it came down today at about 4:30, 5 o'clock that Kevin Youkilis had been dealt to the Chicago White Sox, a team that for the most part was the favorite, and a deal almost actually did get done late last night, and it took through today's game to get this deal done, but it finally is done. Kevin Youkilis is going to Boston, and I don't know who to give credit to. John Heyman, Danny Knobler, Ken Rosenthal, Gordon Eads, all these guys worked on this and got all the details together for this. Kevin Youkilis is going to the White Sox. The Red Sox kind of had to move on from him because it was becoming a distraction. But if you look at what they got back, I really find it hard to believe that they couldn't do better than Zach Stewart and Brent Lillibridge. Brent Lillibridge this year is batting .175 in 48 games with 2 RBIs. He can play the outfield and he can play first base, but really he doesn't bring much to the table. He's a 28-year-old guy who's been with the Braves and then the White Sox for most of his career and really has never made an impact at all. Last season in 186 at-bats, he had .258 with 13 home runs, so he made somewhat of an impact last year, but I don't know what the Red Sox think they're getting. I don't think that they're getting they already have a few utility outfielders, and I don't see what they're really getting in Brent Lillibridge. And then Zach Stewart really brings nothing to the table this year. 6 ERA. Last season he had a 5.88 ERA, and the season before last season combined with the White Sox and the Blue Jays, he had a 5.88 ERA. Yeah, he's only 25, but he really hasn't shown much. So, Justin, what do you think about this trade?
This trade, it's weak. It's a weak trade. The White Sox got the steal on this trade. Zach Stewart, Brent Lillibridge. This is a bad trade. I mean, the Red Sox should have actually kept Kevin Youkilis what they're getting in return. Brent Lillibridge, you already covered 98% of the video, though. Brent Lillibridge, he has not had the greatest of years in the MLB, even though he's spent most of his MLB time down in the minor league level. He's a good outfielder when it comes to defense. He can be dangerous on the base path. He provides speed. He's good at stealing bases at time to time. You know what? He's a project in the making for the Boston Red Sox, so I can understand what's going on with why they acquired him. Me and Tim, to be honest with you guys, we got into a little argument heading into the video where, I guarantee it's going to be Alex Rios. Alex Rios, yes, the guy has been playing really inconsistent throughout the times with the Chicago White Sox, and I was like, you know what? Boston Red Sox, if you look at it, they have a pretty decent outfield, but you know what? There's still room for improvement. So I was like, you know what? Bringing Alex Rios in, that's not bad. Maybe he can probably resurrect the rest of his MLB career with the Boston Red Sox. The guy can hit home runs at time to time. He's mainly an average type of hitter, but you know what? It's a better acquirement, better than Brent Lillibridge and Zach Stewart. I'm just pretty upset. Zach Stewart, on the other hand, he's not the greatest pitcher at all. In 16 games, he's 1-2 with a 6-hole ERA, 30 innings pitched. You know what? This is another bad move for the Boston Red Sox. This guy, he still has to make a name for himself. He's from Texas Tech. The but Zach Stewart he needs a lot of help right now. I can see the Boston Red Sox for the time being bringing Brent Littlebridge up to maybe be on the roster, maybe as a reserve outfielder, but Zach Stewart, I think he's going to get a couple of solid innings into the season for the Red Sox, but I guarantee he's not going to come around to full strength of what the Boston Red Sox are expecting him to be. So that's just my intake. The Chicago White Sox just ran away with this trade. I think the Red Sox should have gotten somebody better in return.
The White Sox have really been the surprise team. If you watched our 30 teams previews prior to this season, you know that I had them in last place in that division, and they have. I mean, this is probably the weakest division in baseball. Either that or the NL Central, and they're at 38 and 34, a half game up in that division, and they look good. I still think that Detroit ultimately wins this division, but they just got a steal here. What Kevin Youkilis brings to a young team is leadership and a guy that's been there and done. He's won a World Series. He's been through the playoff race pretty much every season of his career that he's been in Boston. So that's nice to bring. And you know that Robin Ventura, who's a former third baseman with the Yankees and a few other teams, wanted to have a solid third baseman, and he certainly got his wish in getting Kevin Youkilis. As far as the Red Sox go, they need help in the outfield, yeah. So, I mean, I guess they got that in Brent Littlebridge. But I really question how much of an impact he's going to make over some of the guys that they already have there. I don't see what difference that Brent Littlebridge is going to make. That's just my opinion about them getting Brent Littlebridge. Zach Stewart, I think that if they really wanted a reliever, they could have just traded Kevin Youkilis and found a middle reliever, and I think that that would have made more of an impact than them trading him for Stewart and Littlebridge. We'll see what happens, but this trade looks awfully in the favor of the Chicago White Sox, and there are Red Sox fans on Twitter already calling for GM Ben Sherrington's job. We'll see what happens, but so far, this looks like it's a White Sox steal in this trade.